One attorney is putting the love back in lawyering. Legal coach and holistic lawyer, best-selling author of Legalese, and in-demand speaker Lisa Fraley believes entrepreneurs and coaches should protect themselves with legal steps. We're talking legal documents aligned with chakras that support you in practical and energetic ways. Now, she's not your typical lawyer, and she's here to tell us why getting legally covered is so important. So, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
All right, so now you've got a belief that people deserve to be legally covered in a more holistic way, which is very unique and actually very refreshing. I've worked with a lot of attorneys in my day, and you are very different. So how did this whole thing become a passion for you in the first place?
Sure, well, if you think about all the women who own businesses, 80% of them make over $100,000 a year, and the people who do own their own businesses. And what's so crazy about that is that these aren't corporate America workers, these aren't vice presidents and presidents of companies, they own their own businesses. So they have a lot of income and a lot to lose. And 50% of businesses end up in lawsuits every single year. So I don't want those women who are working so hard to end up in a lawsuit. And they do that because they don't have complete documents, they don't have basic legal steps in place like trademarks and disclaimers and contracts. And so I really wanted to pull together my background as a corporate attorney and as a holistic health and life coach to become a legal coach to help them so they aren't jeopardizing the businesses that they're working so hard to build.
So you've really created and designed a new category for yourself as an attorney, which is really interesting. That appeals to you, and also you're focusing on women as well.
Yeah, women and also entrepreneurs with a holistic bent, because so many people are terrified of the law, just terrified. They hate lawyers, they think they're salty and they're not approachable, and I wanted people with a holistic bent just to know that the law can be safe, it can be comfortable, it doesn't have to be scary.
Yeah, all right. Now you've spoken on international stages about this, which is interesting as well, and written a book on what you consider the key legal steps that most entrepreneurs need. Because I know what it's like to walk into this and go like, I don't even know where to begin.
Exactly.
So what are the biggest legal mistakes that most entrepreneurs make?
Sure. So beginning entrepreneurs actually think they don't even need to have any legal documents.
That's a big mistake.
Well, true, that's true. And then people who've been entrepreneurs for a long time, they actually just haven't gotten around to taking steps, and they...
Until it's a big problem.
Yes,
right?
exactly. They end up in a legal pickle, and then they don't know what to do. So it actually makes me think of this client, Stacy, who I worked with, who was still using her generic contract from her health coaching school, which is a great contract to start out with, but as your business grows, you really need to make sure that it's tailored. The documents that you use are tailored for your work. And she had actually been using a generic contract that didn't have a very strong refund policy. And what happened was one of her $25,000 clients asked for a refund, and her agreement didn't have the language to protect her, and she ended up having to give that refund. So that's just like a perfect example of how your contracts need to be done right, need to have the right language in them so that you're not jeopardizing your income, because you're working your tail off to build this business, and I just don't want people to lose it.
Right, right. Whether it's $5,000, $25,000, or $250,000.
Exactly.
Those are the kinds of things that most people don't think about until it becomes a problem.
Exactly. Exactly. And even when you're starting out, you still need to have a contract for your first $200 client as well.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about, you have an approach, you call it legal love. So why is it so important that entrepreneurs benefit from this strategy that you call legal love?
Yeah, it sounds kind of funny to put legal and love in the same sentence.
It does.
I recognize
I gotta
that.
say, yeah.
But especially because people, are, like I said before, are so scared. The law is so uncomfortable. It's so confusing. I wanted people to know it just doesn't have to be. You know, I write do-it-yourself legal templates that have plain English in them, done with heart, so that clients can feel comfortable using those documents with their clients and not feeling like they're handing over some cold, scary legal document. So the legal love part just tries to make the law much more approachable and ease-filled rather than stressful and not enjoyable.
Right, so you really overcome that tension and the pushback you get from people who are like, I don't even want to talk to a lawyer.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So the next thing is, you talk about chakras and energy, which to the outsider, the first time I met you, I was like, okay, this sounds a little bit too woo-woo here. And then you explained it to me, and I'm like, now that makes a ton of sense. So explain how you incorporate energy and chakras with legal work for your clients and how they react and respond to it.
Yeah, well, you know what? They actually really, really love it because I do work with a lot of people who are holistic, whether they're physicians, whether they're health coaches, life coaches, business coaches, or other entrepreneurs who support them. And what's so funny, Mike, is I sort of uniquely believe that the law protects you in practical ways and energetic ways. And so practically you're covering your buns by getting your trademarks and your LLCs and your contracts. But energetically, you're also creating stronger boundaries when you take legal steps and put these documents in place. I believe your frequency rises and you're more confident and empowered rather than scared and small. And so what happened was I was just sitting at my desk one day in my office in front of my computer, and all of a sudden it hit me that the 7 basic legal steps that most entrepreneurs need as they grow their business aligned with the chakras.
How interesting is that, huh?
It was crazy, and it just makes perfect sense, and it makes it easier for people to understand what step to take in what order.
Right. So it's really a new vocabulary, just as much as a different approach on how you respond, you react, and have a relationship with you as an attorney, or in your case, you're providing information, you're providing coaching and services. But it's just a new way of connecting, and maybe someone who normally wouldn't even think of protecting themselves decides to do it because of you.
I can't tell you how many clients have said, Lisa, I'm so happy to have found you and to work with you because you are a health coach, you are a life coach, you get what I do. I tell you I'm running an online cleanse, or I have an online program, or I use Entreport, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that takes away half of the fear in the first place because they know I get them in the work that they do.
That's great. Yeah, it's again using the right messaging, the right language for your market. So let's talk about the rules for online businesses because anyone who's doing online coaching, online health coaching businesses, why is it so important to get involved with what you have to provide?
Yeah, so if you are doing online coaching or have an online business, there are certain legal steps that you want to take so that when you have people buying your programs, they're not going to run off with your content. Or if they do, heaven forbid, you have the right legal language to fall back on. And you also want to make sure that you're honoring and protecting your work. You know, it's one thing to say, watch out for people who are going to steal your work, but also it's really a way to honor and protect your own work and the integrity of your own work and the creativity that you provide. This is your business. This is your livelihood. You do get to protect and keep it safe, as well as try to prevent people from running off with it. So it's so critical when you're working so hard to build your business not to let it be taken from you.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the relationship that you have with your clients and customers, because of course I've done my research on you and you've got incredible stellar reviews online.
Thank you.
And your reputation is incredible. Why do you think this is? Aside from the fact that you communicate using a language they understand, what else is it about you and what you do?
Well, I think because I am a coach, I come from that heartfelt legal love place because so many people are so afraid that I actually sort of emotionally support them as they're taking these steps that feel really scary. So besides providing the practical solutions with do-it-yourself legal templates and services, it's the coaching side that I think actually makes people feel safe and secure. Because if they don't feel safe and secure, they don't move forward in their business. And so I think I love them up in a way that's sort of unique for a lawyer. And I think that's what makes them drawn to me and come back for more.
That's great. So I know this point, people who are listening to you saying, okay, I want to do more. I want to work with Lisa, and you're giving away your book called Legalese. How would someone, tell us a little bit about the book and how someone can actually start working with you?
Sure. So the book has come together out of all of this work that I've done over the past number of years, and it's about those 7 legal steps we talked about that you put in place one step at a time as you grow your business. Each of the steps aligns with a chakra and also an underlying principle. So like, for example, if you're putting your contract in place, contracts protect your income. Income is associated with the sacral chakra and also the concept of boundaries. So you kind of learn about each of them as you're learning what steps to do to protect yourself. I'm so excited about it, and I'm so happy because it really allows people to learn about this work in a way that's very accessible.
Right. So you really understand the relationship between the legal system and how it protects you and how it protects you energetically, and the relationship between all these. So you've created this really interesting process. It's awesome. So I know we have a place for you to go to get this. It's at www.lisafraley, that's Fraley.com/free book. And you can get Lisa's book there, which again is called Legalese, and you can also learn more about how you can work with Lisa and connect with her. So thank you so much for being here. You've been a pleasure to speak with.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
All right, so go ahead and go to Lisa's site right now and pick up her free book.